saw that.
Women drivers.
So this is an epic moment that Sean Ainsworth, who couldn't be here for the commentary, but did an awesome job on, which was one of the biggest kind of moments we knew going into this episode that was going to be scary, because it's also something like 16 minutes of cutscene, basically.
Yeah. Counting.
Yeah.
But it's 16 short minutes.
Yeah, you know, they're eventful. They're jam-packed.
There's some clicks.
There's a few clicks in there, yeah.
So, good.
Yeah. So Alt Doc here is now both fading out because his future is no longer exist, and he's been run over by a car, so he's dying simultaneously.
But he goes happy.
Because he knows that the real him will end up having a nice happy.
And then
I remember giving you a hard time about the specific order of those events.
Oh yeah, it's kind of important, yeah.
And then comes the moment that is for Dennis the central. We gotta give Dennis the floor now.
Yeah, it's just basically the whole leading up to episode 5 for the longest time. I was just like, whatever happens, the moment where Emmett comes out, and we got to see his hair spiked. It's got to be in silhouette, and you think it looks like Doc, and then he steps out into the light and smoke clears, and it's Emmett. It's sort of the origin story of Emmett's hair, and that is my favorite.
Yeah, the whole season we've kind of joked with each other that it was all about the hair. Alt Doc has virtually no hair, and it's is very tightly controlled. Young Emmett normally has pretty tight hair with little loose bits, and then Emmett, who's embraced his future, has crazy real Doc hair.
And it was a great moment. I didn't even see it till just a few days before the end of the process, and it gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got some whites in there already too.
Yeah.
Well, He
And
has
again,
aged 10 years in the past 5 minutes.
Mike Prada with the effects again to make that smoke effect.
Yeah,
came
that
out
smoke
really
turned out
nice.
super awesome. Really nice.
One might be able to direct the ionic current simply by shifting one's weight. Oh, great Scott, that's it! Come on, there's no time to lose. Let's get back to the lab and... I'm sorry.
And then also I think like Lazar and
Please, Emmett.
Bass Sound and Julian and Damien really and Jared kind of making a lot of the sound effects in this stuff read really well. So much of these little moments happen off screen, or you kind of see the lights flashing out of the high school, and sort of getting the right balance of people sounding like they were amazed and now they're a bit horrified and something's kind of going wrong, but you don't know what.
There's an awful lot going on kind of simultaneously in this scene, and keeping it all alive is a real feat.
Lazar's recording us right now. Hi.
Hi, Lazar.
You waved. People can't hear the wave.
Time would do irreparable damage to something. Just
Something.
say you.
I like that line.
Okay, I
And
promise.
Marty trusting Emmett to keep a scrap of paper for 50 plus years, and not looking at it before 1955,
Wait,
when he'll see him again anyway, twice or something. Ow! Don't think about it too much.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense. That's true.
Somewhere we have a chart that maps out everything in perfect detail.
But the way AJ underplays this moment is priceless.
Yes. And the way it's animated. Yeah. Marty expects it to happen. Yeah. He doesn't even think that it's happening.
Oh, it worked.
Yep.
I love that shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
And
tie.
the Adam shirt, or the Adam tie.
Yeah.
So good.
I had done a few variations of this. We wanted to portray Doc as the kind of psychotic professor character. Nice Hawaiian shirt and crazy tie. It ended up pretty nice.
Well, I think it's funny because I remember talking about oh man, science tie with little
yeah.
protons and stuff, which was based off of for the episode 1 launch. Mike had a Star Trek tie with faces on it, and I don't know why I was like, oh man, Doc should have.
Because this is
Doc.
when he was dressing up for a ceremony, and that's
Hey,
when
look
he
who's here! Jay Fox! There's a backstory about getting Michael J. Fox,
But we don't have time to tell it.
We don't have time. Way too long. Basically, we were designing the 5th episode halfway through it, and Marking said, "We heard you're talking about trying to get Michael J. Fox for the 5th episode." We said, "We were talking about that 5 months ago, and then we forgot about it." So we scrambled like crazy to find good places. And we were writing this really complicated idea, and then I went home and my wife said, "Well, why don't you do this?" And we said, "Okay, that's a lot better," and we'll just go with that. We probably would have gotten there anyway, but probably saved about a week of us running around.
I remember you coming in, and like having that idea, and we were all like, "Oh man, that's perfect! You're a genius!" And you're like,
And
"No, I can't take credit."
speaking of Officer Parker here, it is Officer Parker himself, our lawyer Mark Barbelak, who was largely responsible for our getting Michael J. Fox and going through the whole process.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
props to him.
Yeah.
Did he do it as Officer Parker?
Yeah.
I think so. I think he dressed in uniform and said, "You're coming with me."
Okay. I like in the end how after we've solved Officer Parker's problems again, once again, he's getting screwed over by the disappearing DeLoreans.
So sad.
This effect was great.
This is the kind of the one we wanted, like the whole season, like every reality completely changing around you, right?
Yeah.
And it was the brainstorm of our composer, Jared Emerson Johnson, to just cut the music altogether.
Yeah.
And that was a great feat of scoring because it worked really well.
Yeah, I remember him instant messaging me one day and be like, "Hey, so I put music in there, like you said, and I don't know, man, you should watch it without music." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I did, because he was like, I did a version without music, and then we just watched it there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, so much better."
And as someone who's lived in the Sierra foothills for a good chunk of his life, I can attest that, that's pretty much what it looks like when there's nothing there.
Juniper, is that what those things are?
Yeah.
And to give Michael J. Fox a little bit of props too, he super up for it. Like when he came into the studio, he was super good natured and had read through all the stuff we'd sent over and really liked the story. And he actually, like I was telling you guys, commented. He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "the lines sound spot on, like Back to the Future. There's nothing I want to change." We're like, "Oh well, perfect."
Then he came in and gave us a nice little bit of that
little bit of country
little
fried.
country NorCal accent to the whole thing. Which is great for little Willie McFly all grown up. This time at least he didn't pee on Marty. So.
At least not on screen.
I somehow feel this is right.
Yeah. No. Okay then, let's go.
Sometimes you don't need words.
Yeah.
Well done, nod.
Yeah.
Kent did all that stuff.
The cabin sequence.
I
This is the
love
sequence.
the music.
Yeah,
This is so good.
The kind of Disneyland going into the Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing.
But even better.
Yeah.
I really wanted this moment as soon as we saw the carved out DeLorean that Brian Gillies built. I was like, "Oh man, you got to put grass throwing through the flux capacitor, and then we got to have like Doc look up at it and get sad."
Yeah.
And I think it ended up taking a while. I don't know why, to get everything all set up, but yeah, once it did, it's cool. Brian did an awesome job on this environment. It's beautiful. Here we go. Here it is.
Who does not love a crazy old lady?
It knew it would eventually all get back to crazy old Edna again.
This was the sequence in the game that underwent the most changes during the game's development, and for a while there was a whole sort of California Gothic Spider Baby sequence in which there was a mutant
Don't say
Tana who
mutant
lived.
That's awesome.
And eventually was changed into a completely different puzzle.
But a better puzzle.
Yeah, I know. I think getting the chance to mess with Edna is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My first variation of this costume for Edna, I took Ryan Jones's original concept and designed the costume around this and decided I'd have some fun with her face and went pretty wacky with it. And
Yeah, I remember seeing some of the stuff like your first sort of passive, like all the different options, and I look at it and like almost threw up a bit in my mouth, and I was like, I like it. What about you?
Everybody had an extreme reaction to those
Everyone was
sketches,
terrified. Really nice.
and we went with it.
And she
'Cause
says,
she is terrifying.
yeah. And she lights
More
her.
Girl
fire.
likes fire.
Oh yeah, she's
She's a pyro.
She's a wild one.
yeah.
That can't smell good. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's evil.
The read on that line from Christopher Lloyd
We were
about
never
not
that
being that passionate. He's like, I died laughing when I
Yeah.
heard that.
Happened like this.
But it did happen like this. Repressing you all these years because you can't stand to admit that you're...
Oh, hooligan.
Yeah, that's right. Edna,
Full
you're
circle.
a hooligan. and everybody drinks on hooligan. Yeah.
Yeah. Rebecca Schweitzer did not hold anything back
Yeah.
in that role.
Here's the story.
And another newspaper because it's really important. that we have
Yay.
newspapers.
Yeah, I think Drew almost
We
died a
only
little
did
bit
it to
inside
torture
with all the
Drew.
newspapers in this season.
Am I?
I'm sure on the back it actually reads all work and